Well, when the sun is up, we're trying to assess the damage. And our next guest is a friend of the show, and he's been on the show lots of times for great and fun reasons. Unfortunately, he's back now for a reason that we wished we never had to get him back. Jay Kanzler, local attorney, filling on the board meeting. You're also in your day job, you're the director of Marshall the Miracle Dog, but your day job, you're a lawyer. And you're a lawyer for many of the businesses, some of the businesses in Ferguson. And you held a news conference. Was that last Friday?
It was Friday.
And which was, tell us, what was the idea of that news conference and what happened?
The idea was that as we get closer to the anticipated release of the grand jury decision, that it was right, once again, to call the people of that area together, the business owners, the people that live in the community, and pull them together and say, listen, we are part of this community. This is where we live. It's where you live. It's where we work. It's where you shop. Please, let's all stand together and stand for peaceful protests, stand for continued discussions, but let's all stand against violence, looting, and chaos.
The epicenter of all of this is that Ferguson Market, which is right there across the street from Emerson. You are the attorney for that family. You're also the attorney for Sam's Meat Market, which is a block down the way. It was looted back in August, and it was looted again early last night.
That's correct. You know, we started off watching, and I watched this unfold on television, all the focus on the Ferguson Police Department.
Right.
And as I was watching that, 2, 4, and 5, my wife came down the stairs and said, put on Fox National News. Mm-hmm. And look what they're doing down on West Florissant. Look what they're doing to Ferguson Market. I flipped over. It seemed to be the only channel. And there, once again, just like back in August, people smashing in the windows of the businesses, the cellular phone store, and Ferguson Market, kicking it in, loading up crates, loading up their arms, and looting the store again. And just like back in August, there was not a police officer to be seen. Not an officer, not a National Guard, no one.
Luckily, the Ferguson Market did not burn last night.
That's correct.
Next to the Ferguson Market is that famous McDonald's. Did that burn last night?
It did not burn. They looted it. They smashed out the windows. I guess they took all the Big Macs and I saw them taking the big screen TVs from there. So that was looted seriously. The next building over
is Beauty Town.
And that was probably the first and largest fire for most of the evening.
And that you've been there this morning?
I've been as close as they would let me get. I could see I was probably within an eighth of a mile.
Okay, and Beauty Town has since burned to the ground.
That's correct.
All right, a block or two, there's a strip mall with a number of businesses, a copy machine place and another nail salon and maybe another hair extension place, and then Sam's Meat Market.
Correct.
Did that burn to the ground?
It has parts of it still standing. Unlike the beauty supply that just collapsed is nothing but ashes, but it has burned about 3/4 to the ground.
Were you told, because you were quite vocal the last time, that you were told by the police that the looters are coming, we're not going to defend the store, get your valuables and get out? Were you told anything different this go around?
Right. This go around, in fact, as late as Friday night, I sat down with the Justice Department and my clients and was told, we have a plan. We're going to protect you. We're not going to let what happened in August happen again to you. We will get the fire trucks in. We will get the ambulances in. The police know who the agitators are, the anarchists. They have identified them. They will put a stop to it right away. So yes, everyone told us there was a plan. Governor Nixon had his press conference and his photo op down there with the hamburger folks and saying how he's a man of the people and he had it under control and he was going to protect the businesses. And then he hightailed it out of town and let this happen again.
So when you met with the Justice Department, you mean Eric Holder's people?
Yes.
From the Federal Justice Department?
Yes.
Said they had a plan and they were going to do it. Clearly, whatever plan they had didn't work.
There was no well, let me put it this way. there was no plan if that was their plan, because there was nobody there. This is the place that for 2 weeks in August, night after night after night, was the focus of the protests. Some nights it was looting and it was violent. Other nights it was not. But it was the epicenter, the very point at which everyone came together and protested the shooting of Michael Brown. That there were no police officers, no National Guard, no one in that area following the announcement of the grand jury that Officer Wilson was not being indicted is not a plan.
You met with the Justice Department. Peter Kinder said on the show that he would like this question posed to Governor Nixon, and that is, did the Justice Department lean on you, Governor Nixon, and tell you not to deploy the National Guard? You met with the Justice Department. You've heard the comments Lieutenant Governor Peter Kinder said. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are that is exactly what happened. These businesses were once again sacrificed so that the response to the criminals, to the terrorists, would not seem aggressive, would not seem militarized. There was no one there. Now, ultimately, when the police did show up, you will hear Chief Belmar and others say the shooting had started and it became unsafe. And I believe that. And I believe that the fire trucks couldn't get to Sam's because of the shooting. But they never should have gotten as far as those businesses to begin with. There were National Guard a quarter of a mile away that never once headed down the street to do anything last night. There were police officers at the command center half a mile up the street that weren't there when this started. That's not a plan. So
you think that the Justice Department called Governor Nixon, and Governor Nixon listened to the Justice Department and their plan. He listened to the Justice Department, and their plan was not to use the National Guardsmen.
Just like last time, when Captain Johnson specifically said, "We are not going to engage the looters and the protesters. Get out of the way. I'm having people stand down." I believe the same orders came down this time, which were to do nothing in the face of the looting, the violence, and the burning. We're not sending in troops that make it look like a militarized response. But there was no other way to stop what was going on. They were looting and burning and shooting up the neighborhood.
You have to ask the question. Governor Nixon was criticized for calling up the National Guard. Why are you invoking this? This is a peaceful demonstration. There is nothing to worry about. And he said, because logistically you need to do this so they're ready at a moment's notice. And then, when needed, they were never called.
Never. They could have protected the firefighters who were trying to put out the fires but had to be called back. They could have protected the businesses from the looters. They could have protected the officers who were trying to get in there, but they were nowhere to be found.
We were talking to Gabe Crocker earlier. Gabe is a policeman who came and said that for everything you saw on TV, there are other streets, other parts of town that have been looted and fires. You've been out driving this morning.
Yes.
Is that your sense that it isn't just what we've seen on TV?
Most of it you've seen on TV. There are, as you get back into some of the neighborhoods, and again, I haven't driven every street.
Right.
But, this was, again, it was focused. It's not as though, Governor Nixon and the folks had to secure the perimeter of St. Louis County.
Right.
They knew where this was going to happen. It's a defined area by major streets and intersections. And this was apparently the only person surprised by what happened last night was Governor Nixon and Eric Holder.
That's Jay Kanzler. Jay, what have the officials said anything to you since last night? Any plan for tonight? Have they reached out to the business owners at all?
I was at a meeting this morning with St. Louis County police as we were trying to get down to visit the businesses. They considered now the whole area a crime scene, so you can't get close. And when we asked, what are the plans for this evening, the response was, well, that changes every 30 minutes.
And who said that to you?
One of the St. Louis County police, officers. But again, I don't understand. If you have a plan, it should be in place and implemented. There is no plan.
Right. Well, Chief Palmer said last night at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning that he needed more assets and that he would have liked the National Guard in on it and he would help anybody. But he said he was not prepared for the onslaught of the violence last night, and he said it was worse than anything that was in August.
I believe that, but to say that they were surprised by it, again, I think is irresponsible.
Jay Kanzler, ladies and gentlemen, an attorney for some of the businesses that were looted and set on fire last night in Ferguson. Give our thoughts and prayers to your clients, and we'll talk to you down the road.
Thank you.
9:21 here, Big 550, Kate.